This is Hardcore Minecraft. These are 20 shulker boxes, and for the next 200 days, I'm building 20 automatic farms to fill each one, starting with the cobblestone farm, filling up the first shulker box. As the video progresses, each farm gets more difficult to build, and I even almost die building the... Next up is the slime farm, and I need to find a swamp. Okay, this should work. And I just need to grab a few materials and build the farm. Oh wait, I found a frog. Don't go anywhere, buddy. You can stay right in this boat. I'm really glad I found that because I want froglights. And I'm gonna build this one out of andesite. Of course, I need other materials. I don't know how a block of andesite would store the items. And for convenience, I'm gonna build this farm on the nether roof. Luckily, I found another frog in the same swamp as before and spent the next 4 hours trying to breed these guys, realizing they could jump out, making the walls higher, rebuilding the iron golem section, redoing the minecart system multiple times, and no, what you see isn't even the final product. It wasn't until many farms later that I realized I can't have 3 powered rails right next to each other on the comparator side because that stops the minecarts. This farm could have been done in like an hour, but I don't know how to play this game. I've only built 3 farms and I'm already out of wood. Again. So next up is a wood farm. I think it works. Wait, I'm in 1.20. Does this farm work with cherry trees? Oh, finally, I found one. Wait, where's the rest of it? Oh, it's because I loaded part of this before I updated to 1.20. I'm just gonna take these. At least the farm works with these trees. Well, for the most part. The tree farm's great, but I don't have any bone meal to run it. Luckily, there's a farm for that, and I'm gonna need a lot of this cobblestone. And just so it's near the other farms, I think this small ocean area is a good spot to build it. I gotta say, although it took a while, I've built this farm so many times that it was super easy. Although I just now realized that even though I built this farm to get bone meal and gunpowder, I'm building more farms later that also provide bone meal and gunpowder. I did not think this through. Switching gears, I decided to tackle the pumpkin, melon, carrot, and potato farms. Since these are all crops that can be traded with villagers, I wanted them to be near each other. First by building the pumpkin and melon farm, using hopper minecarts to pick up the items and funneling them into a few chests. I waterlogged some leaves like I did with a cobblestone generator to hydrate the soil, then planted the seeds, alternating between pumpkin and melon, then finishing out the farm with some observers and pistons and topping it off with some redstone. Moving on, I began building the carrot and potato farm, using the previous farm as an outline. This farm uses villagers to harvest the crops, so I had to put down a composter and a bed on each level, making sure to leave a spot for the villager to stand on when he gets out of the bed. To collect the items on each side, I used hoppers and hopper minecarts that will send the items all the way down to some double chests. Honestly, the worst part about building this farm was the villagers, since I had to bring them here all the way from the breeder I built in the previous episode. Next up is a trip to the end because I'm building, you guessed it, a honey farm. To build this farm, I need a lot of beehives. I spent days and days and days breeding the bees. I actually started this process before I built the pumpkin and melon farm, but getting all the bees I need from just 4 nests took way longer than I expected. At least I finished the honeycomb decoration in my house though, but after 20 days of breeding bees, I finally had enough to make the farm. Gonna be honest here, I don't really want to work with bees again. This farm took way too long to make. Good thing that farm's done because I keep running out of rockets, and this little sugarcane field is not cutting it. But with my newly acquired honey blocks and some other redstone stuff, I can use flying machines to collect the sugarcane for me. And I think I'll build the farm here. And I just had to place some hopper minecarts here, push them a bit as if they insulted my mother, suffocate them with honey blocks. Okay, wait, this took a weird turn. Anyways, I just gotta plant a bunch of sugarcane, build the redstone to send the flying machine back, and go! I'm so smart. Oh, yes, a real cherry biome. I've been looking for a frozen ocean so I can get ice for the next farm, but I'm gonna get a screenshot of these cords. There we go, I found one. This is so satisfying. Wait, hold on, I wanna loot this. Man, you suck. I got it! We're almost halfway done, and now it's time for the toughest one yet, the stacking raid farm. Even though I'm using it to get totems of undying, which will help me live longer in my hardcore world, I still run the risk of dying actually building the farm, since this farm involves some of the most powerful mobs in the game, which means it's time to cue the action music. Sorry, I had to. Here's the real music. And now, I have my very first totem of undying. I know, I'm so special. Oh, and I made a custom texture for it too. It's like a green hardcore heart. I won't use it for now since it makes everything all weird and pixelated in the distance. But let me know what you think of it and I'll see if I can get that fixed. But that can wait for a future episode, since I need to make my way back to the nether to build one of the most well-renowned farms, ENX04's Wither Skeleton Farm. I know everyone has seen this farm before and it's a really simple build, so I won't harp on it too much. Honestly, the hardest part was finding a suitable fortress and getting the nether brick, and that was still pretty easy. And now the Wither Skeleton Farm is complete. Oh, that was cool. You see how I zoomed out? Yeah, I'm a great YouTuber. And now I can build the other Wither farm, this time for Wither Roses. But first, I want to kill a few of these guys. Honestly, I'm not sure how much I'll be using Wither Roses, so a simple farm like this should work. With this setup, all I have to do is hold right click and the snow golems will get killed by the Wither, and then I can go down and safely collect the Wither Roses and the snowballs to make more golems. A very small and simple farm. You know, I completely forgot about this enchanted golden apple I got last episode. Since it's the first one I've ever gotten, I guess I could put it with the rest of the relics here. And I guess I could put a nether star here too since I killed my first Wither. I plan on doing some big projects in the future, and if they're anything like my starter house, I'm gonna need some concrete. You thought I was gonna say obsidian, didn't you? But converting concrete by hand is tedious, to say the least. But with a few redstone materials and some editing motivation, I was quickly able to build this concrete converter that pushes the concrete into a blast chamber, where it's then collected into the double chest at the bottom. Although I'm not really sure it counts as a farm, yeah, it's a farm, I promise. Yeah, it's an automatic concrete farm. I almost died. With crops on the mind, I might as well finish the last crop farm of the video, the bamboo farm, because this is out of place and I need it automated. Just like the sugarcane farm, this bamboo farm uses flying machines to collect the items. The difference here though is that it uses a railway system to pick them up, just like the pumpkin and melon farm, which of course means I need to go back to the nether to get more gold. I wish I had a gold farm. After finding a decent spot to build it, I started off by making a large cobblestone platform for the minecarts, placing barrels, chests, and the few hoppers I had on me. Believe it or not, this small iron farm hasn't been producing enough iron. So while I was waiting for more iron, I did some of the redstone, placed some rails, and started work on the second layer that the bamboo will be planted on. And unlike the sugarcane farm, this flying machine was really simple. So all I had left to do was finish the redstone. I tried using the same hopper clock as the sugarcane farm, but it wasn't until later that I realized that this system didn't work since I didn't have the correct pulse length. In the meantime, I planted the bamboo and built up the glass walls, finishing up the farm by making some changes to the collection system. And just like the Froglight farm, I promise this redstone gets fixed eventually, just not right now. I'm clearly not good with redstone, so next up on the list is a very simple wool farm. Like I said earlier, I have future plans for this series that require a lot of blocks, including wool. So I bred up some sheep and put each into one of the 16 holes. Then I collected all 16 colored dyes and dyed each sheep, quickly marking the small automatic wool farm complete. With 3/4 of the farms done, it's time to enter the final stage. From this point on, each farm becomes bigger than the last, and for this next farm, I need to conquer an ocean monument. Thankfully, the design I'm using doesn't require me to drain the ocean monument. Otherwise, this farm would have been a whole video on its own. I just had to build a portal in the center, clean up the top of the structure, place a whole bunch of dirt so I could get the water streams in place, build the collection area on the nether roof, almost died while placing the soul sand. I told you every mob wants to kill me. I mean, seriously, what is this crap, bro? I'm about to die. I'm just gonna grab another totem just in case. Okay, let's try this again. Oh my gosh, dude, I can't. Okay, I'm scared now. Okay, new plan. I decided to go home and make some invisibility potions so the guardians wouldn't see me. Unfortunately, I have to take off my armor for this to work, so this leaves me completely vulnerable. But since I still had a couple totems on me, I knew I'd be fine. Honestly, the most annoying part now was drowning, since I no longer had respiration. Couldn't you have just made some water breathing potions? Yes, I could have. And with that, the Guardian farm is done. Let me just build this AFK platform, get rid of the dirt, and now look at all of them go. Yes, die, all of you. You're the worst mob to deal with. I hate hate you. Next up is a farm we all knew was coming, Ilmangel's Gold Farm. This is probably the most famous design out there, and with gold farms being one of the most iconic farms in Minecraft, there's no surprise why I'm building it. I've built this farm in my survival worlds before, so I was prepared for the immense amount of magma blocks I had to gather. Seriously, I had to get so many magma blocks. Well, I got all the materials, including 96 minecarts. I did tell you that I AFK'd overnight after building the Guardian farm, right? And since the Wither Skeleton farm is so far away from my portal, I might as well put another farm along this path too. So now it's time for everyone's favorite thing, another time lapse. Finally, after a few hours, the gold farm is done. This upgraded storage area should handle the drops just fine, and now I just have to hit one with a snowball. Like that, maybe? Okay, maybe not. Well, good thing I have a trident. There we go, the XP is flowing, and I can repair all my tools. Is this cruel? This gold farm's great, but it wouldn't be that useful if it weren't for the next farm, the bartering farm. When given a gold ingot, a piglin will give you one of these items, including gravel, quartz, ender pearls, blackstone, you get the idea. And since I conveniently built the gold farm near a crimson forest, it should be easy for me to spawn some piglins on the nether roof and start trading with them. But before I do that, maybe I should build the farm first. And now I just need some piglins to spawn up here. Oh, here's one. Just go in the hole, thank you. And take this pumpkin, and that's one piglin down. 31 more to go.
A few inches later.
And finally, the bartering farm is done. Look at the storage system, it's huge. And like I said, it's right next to the gold farm, so I'll have all the gold I need to use this. All right, piglins, you ready to trade? Okay, they're throwing their items, and off they go. And since I used blue ice, the items seem to be making their way to the end no problem. Oh yeah, I gotta get rid of the spawning platform too. This farm was pretty big, but pretty easy to build. I'm feeling good about this. Next up is the ghast farm, and thanks to the previous farms, I have just about everything I need to build it. Cobblestone, froglights, hoppers, wither roses, but what I don't have, and what I knew I'd eventually run out of, is obsidian. Look guys, it's just like the first episode all over again. At least this time I have a beacon. Well, that's an hour of my life I'm not getting back. And just like the previous two farms, I'm gonna build this one along the same path since there's another soul sand valley here. I started building the first layer of the ghast farm, quickly realizing I had nowhere near enough froglights. But after even more AFKing, seriously, I spent so much time AFKing in this video, I soon had enough to continue building the farm. Besides giving me a reason to have even more obsidian, this ghast farm plays an important role for the next farm, but more on that later. Just like the gold farm, this farm wasn't complicated to build, just tedious. Especially since I need chickens in a boat. Not exactly something I expected to need for a farm. I just have to build an AFK platform up here and I should be all set. Wait, why does the biome say basalt deltas? No, I meant to build it on this side of the torches, but I built it on that side of the torches. This was the absolute worst case scenario. It literally took me over 2 hours to break and replace the entire farm. And I had already spent over 3 hours getting everything and building it the first time. Now I had to do it all over again, just a few blocks away. I'm not cut out for this game. Well, the farm's done. Again, what if I fly all the way up here to this singular froglight? I can now say the farm is finally finished. I spent this entire video with one goal in mind, filling up 20 shulker boxes, but in doing so, I've kind of run out of them, which is why the last farm of the video is the shulker farm. After gathering materials for the final farm, I made my way to the end to kill the dragon 4 more times, and definitely not popping another totem in the process. The reason I did this was to create new gateway portals, since the one I have now was nowhere near an end city. Luckily, one of them was close to a new end city, meaning I could build the farm nearby and easily bring a shulker to it later. But before I could do that, I just had to And with that out of the way, I picked a spot and began building the final automatic farm of today's video. And with that, all the farms are now complete. Starting with a simple cobblestone farm, I not only made the savannah even uglier, but also conquered the ocean, nether, and end, building farms to keep me alive and serve me well for future builds. With a few close calls and some speculation about my intelligence, I can proudly say I have survived 289 days in hardcore Minecraft. It's great having all these boxes, but they take up so much inventory space. Meh, I don't need them anyways.